Hello, and welcome back to Thinking in English. Food is something that unifies people across the world. Most people love to eat food, to try new tastes and new flavors, to find new food experiences. Food helps us to connect with family, to socialize with our friends, and to feel happy when we are sad. People love to take pictures of food, to eat food, of course, to talk about food all the time. It is an incredibly important part of our societies and our communities. So, let's learn some more advanced vocabulary to help you talk about food. Make sure you check out the transcript on thinkinginenglish.blog and also my Instagram page, Thinking in English Podcast, and the link is in the description. Delicious. People love to talk about food. We love to recommend restaurants, crave for our favourite dishes from childhood, and to reminisce over taste sensations we experienced in the past. For this reason, adjectives to describe good food are necessary. Actually, more than necessary. They are essential for English language learners. Of course, you probably know the word delicious. It's a word to describe food that you like, good food. However, using delicious exclusively to describe food that tastes good is often a little repetitive and boring. For example, today I ate a delicious bowl of ramen containing some delicious pork and with a side of delicious dumplings and rice. Boring, right? How about today I ate a delightful bowl of ramen containing some mouth-watering pork and with a side of appetizing dumplings and rice? I think it sounds quite a lot better. So here is a list of alternatives to delicious. This is not a complete list of all words you could use or synonyms, but these are some of the most useful and commonly used ones. Some of them are formal and some are informal, but they are all useful for you. So instead of saying delicious, why not say tasty, appetizing, scrumptious, yummy, luscious, delectable, mouth-watering, delightful, lovely, wonderful, pleasant, enjoyable, appealing, enchanting, charming, palatable, or satisfying. If you want the full list, check out the blog. It will be there. Acquired taste. Sometimes there are dishes and foods that are not easy to like. With strong flavors, strange smells, or weird textures, it can take a few attempts, or many attempts, before you actually start to appreciate what you're eating. For foods like this, we can describe them as an acquired taste. Blue cheese is an acquired taste. It is salty and can have an unpleasant aroma or smell. Other acquired tastes include black pudding from the UK, my country, which is a blood sausage popular to eat at breakfast. Natto in Japan, which is a kind of fermented soybean with a really strange texture. Stinky tofu in China and Taiwan, which I guess is in the name why it's an acquired taste. And sweet licorice, which is a kind of candy popular in the UK and other European countries. But for my friends from Asia, it's disgusting. There are acquired tastes all over the world. I actually remember going to Malaysia when I was 19 years old and trying durian fruit, which, there's no nice way to say, smells atrocious. Moreover, drinks, music, movies, anything that can be liked can also be described as an acquired taste. Coffee and alcohol are acquired tastes. 7 years ago, I didn't drink coffee or like coffee flavor at all. Now I have my own equipment to grind fresh coffee every morning. So we can also say that I have acquired a taste for coffee. I could eat a horse. I'm starving. What do you say when you want or need to eat something? I'm hungry, right? How about when you really want or really need to eat something? I'm really hungry. I'm very hungry. Some people think that it is lazy to use adverbs such as very and really. To some extent, I agree with this. Using alternatives makes your speech and your writing and your language much more interesting, in my opinion. And when I write myself using fully native and fluent English, I tend to not use very and really. However, in this podcast, I am guilty of using adverbs too much. I don't want to use adjectives and describing words that you've never heard of before. So I tend to use really and very. But today, instead of using adverbs to describe hunger, here are two alternatives. I could eat a horse and I'm starving. These expressions are both metaphorical, which means that you don't literally mean what you're saying, but you want to express that you are incredibly hungry. I could eat a horse. Horses are big animals. So if you could eat a horse, then you must be hungry. And I'm starving. To starve means to die from hunger. But we often use it when we just want to eat a lot of food. These two are not literal. You don't really want to eat a horse, and you're not really going to die from starvation. You're just really hungry. Sweet tooth. Do you like dessert? Are you the sort of person who loves cakes, puddings, chocolate, candy, ice cream, caramel, marshmallows, cookies, and anything else sweet? Will you always check the dessert menu at a restaurant before you enter? If the answer to these questions is yes, then you probably have a sweet tooth. Having a sweet tooth basically means that you love sweet and sugary food. Some people like savory food or salty food, but there are also a lot of people who have sweet teeth. Eyes are bigger than one's stomach. Earlier in this episode, I mentioned my lunch. A large bowl of savory noodles containing mouth-watering pork and with sides of delectable dumplings and fried rice. If that sounds like a lot of food, you're right. It was a lot. It was probably too much food. By the time I had eaten the rice and the dumplings, I was full, and I didn't really want to eat the ramen. I forced myself, though. However, when looking at the menu before ordering, I felt like I could eat a horse, and I was confident that I could finish everything I ordered. I was wrong. In this situation, we can say that my eyes were bigger than my stomach. My eyes saw all of the tasty food on the menu and wanted to eat and try everything. But in the end, I struggled to fit everything in my stomach. My eyes were bigger than my stomach. Have you ever been in a situation where your eyes were bigger than your stomach? It happens to me all the time, probably most days. Hopefully, after listening to today's episode, you now have a few more terms and phrases to describe food and eating. Check out some of our previous episodes and find all of the podcast transcripts for free on thinkinginenglish.blog. Make sure you check out our Instagram page, Thinking in English Podcast. All of the links will be in the description. And as always, thank you for listening and also supporting the podcast.